Okay, we are going to continue our ecology unit here today by talking about food chains and food webs. We just have one slide today talking about kind of the differences between the two and what they're useful for. It ties in well with our previous discussion about ecological niche and how different organisms fill different roles within that ecosystem. Today is a very like I said, it's just a continuation of that, and that is a food chain and a food web. Now, starting with food chains. That's something that you guys probably have all done, like in grade school, elementary school, where you had maybe the sun and some plants and some herbivores and some carnivores, and you've made that food chain. So you've shown how energy gets transferred from our sun into the variety of levels of consumption within our ecosystem. Okay. And that's a key idea. A key idea is that our energy comes from the sun and it gets transferred throughout our ecosystem. A food chain is a great way to start this conversation. So it's a relationship among organisms defined by that transfer of energy and food. It includes producers, consumers, and decomposers. Now, it'd be nice if ecosystems were that simple, where it was we have the sun, we have a um, autotroph or a producer, and then we had an herbivore, a carnivore, etc. As we're going. But we all know that's more complex because all organisms eat more than one food source for the most part. And so food webs are a better representation of all of the energy transfer that's going on in an ecosystem because a fox might eat a rabbit, but it'll also eat a squirrel, it'll eat a chipmunk, it'll eat a mouse, it'll eat a vole, those kind of things. So a food web is a network formed among food chains where organisms make and food consume more than one type of food. And food webs are also very messy. If you take a look at my example here, here's that same thing I was talking about with the fox and the eating the hares and the chipmunks and those kind of things. Um, Food webs and how nature actually works is far from being clean and organized. It's very complex. It is this huge mess of producers, herbivores, carnivores, decomposers, etc., and how they all match together. So, you all are going to be creating some food webs today, and it should end up looking something like this. One thing I really want to point out here is the direction that the arrows are going. Okay, because that direction matters. Um, that direction is showing which way energy is flowing. Because the food webs are our way to show energy transfer, and so the direction of that arrow is very important. Notice it goes from what is um, the food into what is eating the food. That's the direction of those arrows there. So that'll be important as we go forward. Tomorrow, and actually a follow up on your guys' food web questions will be what happens when we remove a species. Here's another sample food web that yours might end up looking something like as you're going there. So there's a little bit about food webs and food chains. To continue our discussion on ecology.